primary reason to buy the Xiaomi 17T is not the performance but the cameras. So today I'm going to compare this phone not just with the pricey iPhone 17 but also with significantly more affordable mid-range devices like the Poco X8 Pro or M8 Pro, because this one has got the same main camera sensor while being priced at around half the Xiaomi 17T. So my first question was, what is this Leica collaboration? Is it just a filter or does it actually make a difference? So let us take two different pictures, one on the 17T and then the same exact picture on the M8 Pro. Okay, that is completely unexpected. The two images are significantly different even with the same sensor on both the phones. This proves how important the optics and the processing is. The 17T just looks so much better, and it even brings out the flaws of the M8 Pro camera, which you probably never even thought existed before. Clarity is definitely something to talk about, but also look at the colors. They are not washed out or oversaturated. And if you want that pop, you can always switch to the Leica Vibrant. The primary difference between the two modes is obviously saturation, like I mentioned even in my earlier videos, but also look at the other things like the vignette. It's noticeably present in every shot taken on Leica Auth. And then the shadows, they are crushed to give that punchy look. Also, here is a comparison with the X8 Pro. For context, the X8 Pro has got the Sony IMX882, several noticeable differences between the two images. Actually, I even compared this to iPhone 17. It looks virtually the same. Let us do a blind camera test here. Just keep a track of which one you like, the deep blue box or the light blue one. There's also crop in each of the images to give you an idea of the quality. And here is the result. So comment which one looked better according to you. But this thing completely flips as soon as you switch to the videos. The output from the 17T looks excellent, I love it, but the difference is not substantial enough compared to the M8 Pro because both the phones use the same sensor. But one important thing here is the processor. Because of the faster chip, RAM and storage, there are fewer jitters on the 17T while recording in 4K, which is noticeably present on the M8 Pro. Still, there are some differences in processing. The M8 Pro is more saturated in some scenes, and sometimes it also feels like it's washed out. Like, look at the mangoes. But with the Leica processing, the colors on the 17T are more natural. And I'll say the same for the X8 Pro. But as soon as you compare the outputs to the iPhone, the mid-range factor gets prominent noticeably. 1x is manageable, but 2x looks vastly better on the 17 with significantly better clarity than the same rated zoom on the Xiaomi 17T. Okay, now let's talk about the Pro mode of the 17T. This is a single most important feature that is just conveniently missing on the lower mid-ranges. The star feature here is the log video, and not just 8-bit but proper 10-bit video. The LUT is also very easily available in the info page of the camera settings, and it makes a difference. Look at these two videos. The Rec 709 version looks good, what more can you change, right? But when you shoot in log, it enables you to compress the dynamic range and spread it out in this area, giving the video that subtle depth in the flower petals. I'm probably not the right person to teach you color grading, but using the same settings even tweaked on the Rec 709 footage yields, well, something weird. One thing to note, the feature is only supported across the following formats in the following cameras. Okay. Enough with the main camera, let's switch to tele. The perfect camera system is the one that has enough difference between the different focal lengths. And sitting at 5x tele, this is exactly what everyone needs. Beautiful, natural background blur. Actually, can you even tell if this video is taken on a professional camera or a phone? Or even this one? Actually, yes, all of them were taken on my Sony camera. But jokes aside, let's test the reality of 120x zoom. For anyone buying this phone with high hopes for that, is going to be disappointed. The sharp look does not help in very busy scenes. Thankfully, this is easily solvable. The floating AI button on the screen turns off much of that aggressive processing. Some of it is still there, but you can get rid of that too by switching to the Pro mode. Still, I won't say it gets any better. Very specific clean scenes make sense, but not for anything else. And just to give you context, all the pricier base model flagships already struggle here anyway, so this is as good as it gets. Videos are also supported on this camera, and look how the image gets clearer, moving from 4.9x to 5x. Actually, further down the road, around 10x, some extra video processing kicks in and the output looks sharper and more defined. I'd say this is very much comparable to the OnePlus 15 Max Zoom video output. If you remember from my videos, this phone consistently performed better than the other flagships in this category. And about comparison with the other phones, I don't think that is even needed. The iPhone 17 is well beyond cooked beside the Xiaomi, so that is there, and so are the other budget mid-rangers, as you would expect. Finally, let's zoom out to the ultrawide. The Xiaomi's base model flagships have always disappointed me here, but this one didn't. Even with the lower resolution output, the absence of autofocus, how is it managing to perform better than the iPhone 17? In every single shot, the image looks better. But there is still one issue. The comparison itself is not fair because the iPhone is much wider, sitting at 0.5x compared to 0.6x on the 17T. While it does not sound much, the difference is visible enough. So when I'm cropping in on the image, I have to crop in further on the 17 to show the same comparison. And just for the sake of this video, here is the comparison with the M8 Pro Ultrawide Camera as well as the X8 Pro Ultrawide Camera. The performance difference is exactly what you'd expect. Also, look at the video output. I mostly try to keep tree leaves in the video shots because that is where most of the phones mess up, but the 17T output is very well defined, very clear. In fact, beside the iPhone 17 Ultrawide camera, there is no tangible difference except for just the specs. The fact that the 17 can shoot up to 4K 60 compared to 30 on the Xiaomi. Still, if you look closely enough around the edges, I'd say there is some digital sharpening on Xiaomi. Well, we're missing something, aren't we? The portrait mode. The 17T is an excellent candidate for this, not just in terms of edge detection, because obviously it looks good. Look how the strands of hair are separated out, but also the brilliant FOV, which you just can't get optically on most modern base model flagships. You can also completely turn off the portrait mode and still get some amount of decent natural background blur. The f-stop is around 3 to 3.5. I don't remember now, I'll put it on the screen. But what happens when the sun sets? The 17T shines during the night. Every image just looks excellent. But I also can't help but notice the saturation. Maybe it is just me, but I feel like it could have been a little bit lower. And since during the night, color cast from neighboring artificial lights affects skin tones, the added saturation makes it look a bit different. So I went to Triveni for the night shots and there was this massive billboard which affected the surrounding light. My question was, how will it perform under unfavorable conditions? With the stress test in place, the ultrawide camera, as expected, does not look very good, and because the shutter has to remain open to make up for the small sensor and aperture, some of the photos have motion blur. The main camera is a noticeable improvement here. The face is much more visible, the larger sensor and aperture is directly responsible for that. Okay, time for some selfies during the night. You can't deny that you're impressed. The clarity is excellent. But I won't use it much against lighting, not necessarily because it's bad, but the HDR processing feels too harsh. So then how would it behave without that processing, right? Like this on the more affordable Poco phones. None of them are acceptable since the main issue is the harsh backlight. It's just how the different phones choose to process it. Still, even under favorable condition, I like the colors on the 17T more. The other phones feel a little bit too washed out in comparison. Also, the better dynamic range performance ensures proper background visibility. And finally, the portrait mode. Great edge detection and performance in the front camera. One thing I forgot to mention, this phone supports HDR10+ video across all the cameras. While that is difficult to show how it works on YouTube because this video is not in HDR, I can show you the difference by capturing it on the phone display. Notice how the brighter parts of the video lights the display pixel up more. It definitely improves how the video looks on screen. And I also really like the front camera video quality of this phone. So right now I'm shooting at 4K 30 and this is how it looks like. Also, I just moved from a really dark place to a brighter area to give you an idea of the exposure control. Also, you will get a decent idea of the audio quality because there is a little bit of wind over here, but Xiaomi has done something very sneaky and clever with this phone. If you visit the settings page inside camera and then further into audio settings, you get 3 different processing options. Right now I'm shooting without any of the extra fancy features turned on. And now I've turned on smart noise reduction. Now again, I told you there is a bit of wind noise and then there's this AC running, so you're going to get some fair amount of background noise. But again, one major problem that I find with these features, like I've mentioned in the past, is that you can't really remove them after recording. So it gets stuck and it's final. So if you want to remove the effect that is applied to your voice, maybe you don't like it, which is most of the time for me, you can't do that. It's still possible on the iPhone 17 because of the audio mix feature. Overall, this is the most recommendable phone of 2026, a refreshing change from the pricey flagships, but it only appeals to those who just want a fast phone, but also does not need extremely demanding heavy games to run on their phone, because the primary head turner here is the camera. Also, don't think that the more affordable models with the same sensor is going to perform the same. Also, you might be wondering why I included the Poco X8 Pro in this video, because that phone has got the same processor as the Xiaomi 17T. So many of you might be thinking that, okay, I'll settle for the Poco X8 Pro, but then what are the compromises that I need to live with? So this video answers that. And do you remember these videos I showed you, right? They were not taken on a camera. It was just the Xiaomi 17T telephoto camera. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Do like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.